Hello my fellow riders, this is Chris at Ride and Reviews, and today we are going to be talking about why I started this channel. So we're going to be talking about why I started this channel, some updates on the motorbike industry, and why my spelling is so bad. Now this is the first time I've ever done a live chat, so bear with me, we may have some technical issues or whatnot, but we shall see. So the first thing we're going to talk about is why I started this channel in the first place. Now I've been a mechanic for Cheap Bikes R Us now for the last 6 years, and I've PDI'd nearly 5,000 small capacity motorbikes of all different manufacturers, different models, whatever, but I've been doing this, as I say, for 6 years now, and there's not a lot of information on these small capacity motorbikes, so I thought that I would make a channel on my own to tell people about them, help people out who can't actually get down to the shop, and just that general sort of thing. So I have complete control over this channel. It has nothing to do with Cheap Bikes R Us per se. I have complete control, they do not. So Dan, PDI means pre-dispatch inspection. It's the check that we do before we dispatch a bike out for delivery. So the way that we do it at Cheap Bikes R Us is we'll do a PDI, we'll fill out a PDI sheet that lots of ticks, go through stage by stage and check how tight the bolts are, whether the engine runs, how much fuel there is, battery, tyre pressure, all that sort of stuff. Then we'll take it out for a 6-mile test ride, and then it'll come back and somebody else will check it at the next point, sign a piece of paper, and then that bike will be fully PDI'd. Now, as I say, I'm a little bit nervous on this one. I've never done anything like this before, so you've got to bear with me. Cool, James. That's I've never actually had a go on one. We have a sim in at the minute, so I'll be doing a video on that soon. But today the good news is we just got our Yamazaki F50s in, and they will be going out to customers within the next 2 weeks. They're the £1,400 on the road bikes. Our Yamazakis are coming in next week, and they are the £1,699 and the £1,899 ones. So anyway, that's a little bit about how I started my channel. Now let's talk about why my spelling is so rubbish. So I was in foster care when I was younger, and I didn't actually start school until I was 11 years old. Now you might think that this, 11 years old, it doesn't really matter, but the problem is in preschool is where you learn all your the way that you recognise and understand words. So I lost out on that because of stupid social services. So that is why I can't spell properly. I do my best, but it doesn't really matter. So let's have a look at some of the comments. Right, so Aaron Kerridge, sorry if my the way that I'm saying that is wrong. Euro 5 comes in at the beginning of January. Now nobody knows exactly what, how, why, and all that sort of stuff the Euro 5 actually means. The Chinese companies know, but nobody has actually told us in the UK. When the bikes went from Euro 3 to Euro 4, the same thing happened, and everybody didn't know anything about it really until it happened. That's why when Euro 4 came in, there was a 6-month delay on new motorbikes. So I hope that hasn't really answered that question, but the problem is we don't actually know. Euro 5, what you're going to find is a lot of people are going to start bringing in electric bikes. Like Lexmoto no longer do the Aspire and no longer do the Hunter, and they are doing the Cypher and some of the other electric mopeds that are coming in now. So yeah, I'm sorry, I'm trying to talk to you guys. I'm trying to read the comments at the same time. Multitasking isn't usually my thing, but I'm doing my best. So yeah, quite a lot of people are coming in and they are bringing in electric bikes. Keyway is also bringing in an electric bike. They are bringing in apparently a 125 electric equivalent bike with a range of about 80 miles. They're saying that you can flick a battery on and off. Yeah, you can flick the battery from side to side and that will extend the range. Is this a good thing? Is this a bad thing? I don't know. As soon as I get one of those bikes, I will do a test ride on it. Also, another good thing is Keyway are bringing in their Keyway, I think it's called a U2. Now this bike is, they said it was about 19 horsepower, but it's actually been restricted to 14.5 horsepower, and that is going to mean that when you do get it, you can in theory de-restrict it and get the full performance out of it when you go up to the A2 license. So you can buy a top of the range, top speed 125cc 14 horsepower motorbike and then de-restrict it to 19. Free runner, thank you very much, that helps a lot. So F50 looks a Stan, are you fuel injected? And yeah, the Fosty F50s are in fact fuel injected. The Yamazakis are electronic carburation. So I hope that helped. Was it wise decision me changing my mind and ordering a Yamazaki F50? Would you recommend? Right, so in regards to the scooters versus motorbike, there's a little bit of grey area in the law at the minute. So if a motorbike comes from a certain part of China, it has to be restricted. If it comes from another part of China, it doesn't. Every 50cc scooter is in fact restricted, and they will always be restricted. Things like the Lexmoto Echo and the Lexmoto Echo Plus, nobody's got the map to de-restrict them because they're fuel injected. So it can't be done. Apparently people said that there are ones about with the maps, but nobody's actually releasing them. So what else we've got? Lexmoto Cypher, can it be de-restricted? So Spud Ruffy Adams, not at the minute. You can in theory get a different controller and you can change it so that you can get a full 1500 watts out of it. The thing with a Cypher is it will have the full power output at the beginning of the acceleration, so you go from 0 to 30 very very quickly, and then it'll be like you're hitting a wall, and then so you hit that 30 miles an hour, hit that wall, and it will not go any faster until you get probably a new controller. What is the cheapest bike there is that is good? Is that so that's from Swift Doodles. Is that a 50cc or is that a 125 you're looking for? I would need to know that to answer that question properly. What is a wise decision from Referral? Which one are you getting? So Spud, you are getting a Lexmoto Cypher. I've had a go on the Lexmoto Cypher, and I've had a go on the WK Colt 50cc equivalent bike. Now the Cypher has more torque than the Colt 50cc, but the Colt 50cc is cheaper. Thank you, Dan. Very much appreciated. I love your channel. Considering doing my CBT, would I wait till next year, spring, summer? I have grandfather's rights also, but feel doing the course would be beneficial. No experience, etc. I would always recommend. So this one's for Maria Shell. So I would always recommend doing your CBT regardless of whether you got your grandfather's rights or not. This is because, yes, you're right, you can get on a 50cc motorbike straight away and ride it without having any lessons. But I've seen people before who have done their CBT, gone outside like Cheap Bikes for Us after we've got their bike ready for them, and they crash or they fall over right outside the shop. Sorry, my daughter's just coming down to go to the toilet, I think. Come on, quick. Good girl. Say hello. That's alright, go on, quick. Good girl, go on then. Yeah, so if you can do your CBT and not use your grandfather's rights, I would recommend you do so. But saying that, if you're going to do your CBT, get a 125. It's a lot safer to ride a 125 rather than a 50. You can pull away from traffic better. You can go in and out of traffic and just get out of people's way. Whereas on a 50, you can't. So I would always recommend doing your CBT, and if at all possible, go for a 125, not a 50. So Swift Doodles, when you're 16, the only bike you can ride is a 50cc. You're not legally allowed to ride a 125. So yeah, now on to that one. Is there any new changes in the test CBT A1 or A2? At the minute, I don't think there is. So CBT is a standard test. Obviously, you used to be able to use their equipment. You used to be able to borrow helmets and gloves and stuff like that. Quite often now, they won't let you use gloves and their helmets, but you can buy a very well-made helmet for about £40. Every helmet that has to come into the UK has to be Swift certified. So that's the only difference with that. A1 and A2 license, I think they've been the same for like 10 years now, so I wouldn't worry about it. I have a 50cc. Was the front caliper from the Aspire 125 bigger? Can Nitrorory. I can't say your name. Anyway, the Aspire was the same on both. So the 50cc version and the 125 version were the same. The calipers were the same, so you're not going to get any more stopping power with either or. Have you actually got a problem with your caliper? What you tend to find is, especially when the weather's changing now, you start to get a bit of grease in your tyres, not in your tyres, in your brake pads, and they start affecting your disc. So what you want to do is get some brake cleaner every once in a while, spray your disc, spin it round, do some hard stopping, and then that will clean off the grit, and hopefully the braking ability will be back. 1,000 miles on it and front brakes squeak a bit. Yeah, so use some of the use some brake cleaner and that'll sort that out. Hello, Andrew. So, any more questions? Have we got anything else? So so Aroma News TV, 50cc's at the minute, you can get a Lexmoto Aspire for £1,199, or the Lexmoto, not the Aspire, sorry, the Lexmoto Echo 50. They come in at £1,199, or you can go for the Echo Plus, which has an extra £100 on top. Motorbikes, the only ones you can get at the minute in the country, I believe, is the Fosty F50, or the Yamazaki F50 as it is known now, the Yamazaki YM50RE, which is the R3 lookalike bike, and the Aprilia, which is £4,500. Now, I've never actually tried one of the Aprilias. I would like to, and I would like to see if it's actually worth the double the price. I probably doubt it, but most of these bikes will go 45 miles an hour max out anyway. Hi, would you recommend doing the A1 at 17? It all depends on what you're using your bike for, Andrew. So if you are commuting around town through traffic and stuff like that, you don't really need the A1 license. If you want to go and get a bigger bike and go for longer journeys, then I would recommend getting it. Anything over, say, 20 miles journey, I would go for the A1 license. Right, Fred Blog Mac, I retire next spring, seriously planning a Lexmoto 125 as a runabout to the fishing and the North Scotland. Which one would you recommend? It's very much depending on what you like, Fred. So if you like a motorbike, there are several. It depends. You can get like a cruiser, you can get a street bike, a naked bike, a fared bike, a scooter. It's quite a lot about, number one, your budget, and number two, what sort of bike you like. If you're going to go for the scooter, I would go for something like the Chieftain and the Nico Alex 1 are pretty much 90% the same bike. I prefer the Alex 1 because it actually looks better. Carrying a back up. Yeah, so the Alex 1 and the Chieftain have a massive amount of space underneath. You can get a really good, really heavy duty top box on there. Your fishing rods you're going to have issues with anyway because there's nowhere really you can put them on. But yeah, hopefully that's helped. But really you need to go and sit on them and see which ones you personally like. Spud, yes, it will. I tested it and it will hold 29 on a hill. When I did my test ride video a little while ago, there was one hill that got to the full potential of the battery, and that was only because it was starting at a 0 to 30 miles an hour going up a hill, but it still got to the 30 miles an hour going up the hill. So yes, in theory it should do. That would be down to the torque, and those bikes have 14.4 newton meters of torque, which is the equivalent of some lower end 250cc's. Yeah, so Fred, the Chieftain I would recommend if that's your sort of thing, or I would have recommended the Lexmoto UM, but they don't do it anymore. They don't really do any of those sort of bikes. Keyway do the Superlight, but that's not really suitable for this sort of thing. I would definitely get something that can handle a big top box on the back, or even something with fixed panniers. I think the Sinis do the Terrain, and it has panniers on the side. That would be good. What's the difference between Euro 3 and Euro 4? A Euro 3 Hunter was carbureted, a Euro 4 Hunter was electronic carbureted. That's the only difference. Fosty F50, how fast is, and price please. So the Fosty F50 will go 45 miles an hour from day dot, and the price on that is £1,399. What happened to the Lexmoto Aspire and Hunter? Right, the Bailey, the Lexmoto Aspire, they stopped doing it because the Euro 5 thing is coming in, and the companies, the Chinese companies, will not do the Hunter and the Aspire in Euro 5 spec, so they've gone electric. That's why they've stopped doing that. Next motor, what is the Roldan kit? What about Sinistry? Oh, that was Aaron, that was a question for somebody else. They were asking which bike would be good for using fishing gear and going on a long trip. Thank you. I love in the countryside just to run around in the village. Okay. How fast can the Yamazaki 50 go? Yamazaki 50 from get-go, they go 30 miles an hour. If you de-restrict them with one of our de-restrictors, then you can go 45-ish. Right, what's next? My son has an Aspire 50. He wants an LXR when he's 17. In the insurance, any differences between the LXR and the Assault? The LXR is a very heavy bike. The Assault is comparatively, it's about 40 kilos less, but the LXR has a little bit more power. What I would say to you is, if you're going to go to the LXR, I'll probably get some people not like this much, but if you're going to go for the LXR, I would say go for the Keyway RKF instead. It's a lighter bike, it's got 6 gears, and the engine is better. 30 miles an hour restricted, 45 miles an hour. Thank you for answering some of these questions. I'm trying to get through them, but we will see. Quite a lot. For Fred, quite a lot of these scooters are quite a pain in the bum to do tappets and clearances on. You've just got to persevere. As I said, I'm not too keen on the Chieftain. I would prefer the Nico Alex 1. So Adrian Games, yes, there is on the Lexmoto Hunter and the Lexmoto Aspire, they did a really silly restriction on it. So what they've done is they restricted it on the carburation. So they put a stopper in the carburetor, which means that you can get to the 45 miles an hour, but you've got no torque. So when you're going up and down hills, or up hills, shall we say, you've got no power. So you're going to come down to like 1 or 2, first or second gear, about 20 miles an hour on majority of hills. So I would always recommend going on to CMPO and getting that de-restrictor thingy, because it's not going to affect your speed. So get a de-restrictor, and then it'll help you going up and down hills. Make sure that you can get up there at the 30-ish miles an hour. Right, what's this? Any used 50cc's available on the shop? We don't actually have any 50cc's second-hand ones available at the minute. The reason for this is because of the coronavirus. Nobody wants to ride the bus anymore, so quite a lot of people bought projects and that sort of thing at the beginning of lockdown, so there is no second-hand bikes on the market really. And saying that though, there's hardly any brand new bikes on the market either. Our 50cc's are coming in the country now, and they will be in on, one came in today and the other one is coming in on the 5th or next Monday, whatever that is. I think it's the 5th. And Lexmoto are out of stock on some of their stuff until December. Keyway are out of some of their stuff until December, and they're losing some of their bikes, so they're no longer doing the Keyway TX. They're no longer doing the RKR. They're all gone, and they won't be getting them back. What's the best Chinese 125 for reliability? Right, reliability. Now this is a bit of a weird one, right? So majority of all 125 and 50cc bikes, reliability is down to your last service. So quite a lot of people don't get their bike serviced and they wonder why they break. With these small capacity motorbikes, you have to service them regularly, to make sure that they are good. Like on our 50cc's, if you buy a Fosti F50 or a Yamazaki, you do the first service, and that is to check nuts and bolts and change the oil, change the spark plug and stuff like that. Your second service is to do the same thing, but also to check the tappets. Now, with these small capacity bikes, what always happens is the inlet manifold and the exhaust will go tight. If you leave them for too long, they just go excuse me. If you leave them too long, they go tighter and tighter and tighter, and eventually you're going to bend a valve. So you want to make sure that you do your servicing when you're supposed to, because that will help the reliability of the engines. Now, one thing that most people don't understand is there's not really any Japanese bikes anymore. I think the only one that is still made in Japan is the Yamaha, and the only reason the Yamaha is made in Japan is because they've got the Yamaha piano factory. Now, Hondas are made mainly in Brazil and some in China. Some of the cheaper 125s are made just down the road from all the Lex Motors and stuff like that. So the Chinese-Japanese divide thing isn't so much an issue anymore. With the Japanese one, though, you're still paying for quite a lot of the name. So you're paying £1,000 for the Yamaha Kawasaki name. Right, let's see what else we've got. Cheers, mate. Me personally, I really like the electric bikes, Dan. But my favourite is the Yamazaki YM50RE, and the reason why this is because I pretty much built every single one of those on the market at the minute, or I had something to do with every single one on the market. So yeah, they're like my bread and butter sort of thing. What happens if you get caught with a 50cc bike de-restricted? So this is Zach W. What happens if you get caught with a de-restricted 50cc bike? In theory, if you go in by the letter of the law, you'll get done for riding without insurance and without the correct license. But I've talked to several police officers, not naming any names or anything like that, but they said to me that they will not stop someone keeping up with the traffic as long as they're not riding like an idiot. So do it at your own risk. I'm not recommending you break the law, but that's just what I've heard. So, how to buy from your shop, but I live around Manchester, 14 Manchester. So Aroma News TV, we sell all over the country. We sell to Ireland as well, and Scotland and Wales and all that sort of thing. So all you do is ring us up, you purchase a bike as normal over the phone, and we will get it couriered out to you. Now the courier that we use is just a motorbike courier, and he will only ever transport motorbikes. He doesn't transport anything else. So yeah, it doesn't matter whereabouts in the country you are. For a price, obviously the delivery driver isn't going to give you free delivery, but usually it's £100 mainland UK for delivery, and yeah, they will deliver it to you. They're fully insured, so any issues they have to pay for it, pretty much. Right. So D Shepherd, what is? I'll show that. So you put, what is the best-selling bike? What the shop top seller new? That would be the Yamazaki YM50. We sell about 150 of those a year from Cheap Bikes for Us, but you can't actually get them from anywhere else in the country. I find the tappets go out of spec really quickly. I check them often. With the small capacity bikes, Nitro, they do go out of spec fairly often. You can set them between 4,000 and 6,000 of an inch. Are you using a feeler gauge or are you doing it by feel? If you're doing it by feel, then sometimes I've done it before where you think they've got enough play on them but they haven't. I do my own valves, oil and filters, most things. Fred, that's always a good thing to learn. You always need to do your own maintenance after your warranty period has finished. Now you want to do your warranty with the companies, because then if your engine blows up, which we've had it before, we've got someone in at the minute that's got a Renegade, and his engine blew up, and if you do your warranty yourself you would have to pay for that. If you do your warranty through us, if you do your servicing through us, we have to pay it. We have to pay labour. The only thing you have to do is get the bike to us. Fred, yes, a sign of tight valves is that, one, that they don't idle very high, number two, their cold starting is hard, and number three, they lose their top end speed. Bet it feels great. That is, if you ever see one. Yeah, so as I say, Dan, yeah, I've put a lot of these together. Not every single one that I've put together has not had a problem. I'm not saying that I'm perfect, but I am really good. I think I'm pretty good. I'm pretty thorough. What you'll find with all these Chinese bikes, that the failure rate on little bits, you probably find it is about 6 or 7%. But major failures, we don't usually have those. They're usually down to lack of maintenance, lack of oil, lack of water and all that sort of stuff. That's usually what makes the bikes fail. Is it right? Cheers. Is it possible to get British flag on number plate, or would I have to buy a new number plate? Dan, you can get a sticker, or you can actually buy them off of eBay. You've got to be careful of some of the number plates you buy off of eBay, because of if the police see you with a non-legal one, then they'll pull you over, and you don't want that. Nitro, good. You're using a feeler gauge. King Kebab, how can I make my Demon louder? Don't fall off of it, for one, because we've still got your Demon. And number two, you can get an aftermarket exhaust from like a Lextech exhaust, that you would have to chop yours off and bolt this one on, which we can do for you, and it still has the warranty if we do it. If you do it, it doesn't. So yeah, they're about 50 quid plus half hour's labour, I think. See, I asked a question before you put it up. Right, let me see. D. It says, would you ever think of doing videos of all the bikes you know, their top 5 bad points and how to fix them or to look out for? I'm always looking for ideas for new videos. So yes, I will be doing something in the future about that. If you guys have any ideas on videos about maintenance and stuff like that, send me a message, go on my website, subscribe there, go onto the forum and all that, and ask me, and I can do videos of that sort of stuff. I'm always looking for ideas, so yeah, keep the ideas coming and I will keep the videos running. How much? King Kebab, you can get it from Lextech, so that's part of cmpo.com. So, is there any more questions, or shall I call it a day? The Yamazaki F50 is based on a Kawasaki I think it's Kawasaki R3. So yeah. Hello mate, is Moto Finance on a bike an easy process? Lex Moto Finance, I've never actually done the Lex Moto Finance. What we recommend is Superbike Loans. Go on to Superbike Loans or go onto the link on Cheap Bikes R Us's website, click on the finance option at the top and go through that, and then it's easy. They ask you questions about can you afford it and stuff like that, but other than that it's easy. What geared 50s do you recommend for a 15-year-old? Nick, there is 3 that I know of on the market at the minute for a geared 50cc motorbike, and that is the Yamazaki F50, the Yamazaki YM50RE, and the Aprilia RS 50cc. Yamazaki F50 is £1,400, the Yamazaki RE is £1,600 or 19, depending if you go for the Repsol or the other one, and the Aprilia is like £4,500, but I've never ridden one because they're too expensive. What's the worst bike you have had? Me personally, it was a Lifan Apollo 125cc that I actually bought from Cheap Bikes R Us, and this is how I got my job there. So I moved to Milton Keynes and I had a 3.5 litre BMW, and I had to go to and from Northampton every day, and it was too expensive, so I swapped it for a car and a Lifan Apollo 125, and there was a leak of oil coming out of it. I went in there and the owner of Cheap Bikes R Us said, yes, I can fix your bike, but I can't do it for about 3 weeks. And we got talking and he said, have you got a job? I said, not in Milton Keynes. And he said, well, you fix it pretty much, and I never left. So that was that. Oh, sorry, yeah, Bullet Hero 52. I like the Bullet Heroes, but you have to be I'm 5'9", and I'm just about at the minimum that you can hold it up because they are very tall. I think they're 2499 on the road. What is the worst car you ever had? I had a BMW. It was a BMW E34. Timing belt went on it, or timing chain went on it. So that was the worst one I've had. Do you sell Yamazaki F50s? Yes, we are the only place in the UK that sell the Yamazaki F50. How warranty works? If I live in Manchester, would I buy a new bike from you, and to price how much for the F50? Bike and warranty, please. So in regards to buying a bike at a distance, we would supply you with parts. You would have to pay for the labour on that one. The reason we don't pay for labour for warranty work elsewhere is because if you take it to Kawasaki or Honda or anything like that, their labour rates are like £100+ an hour, and we're not willing to pay that because our one's 42. Is the Lex Moto Aspire any good? Yes, the Lex Moto Aspire is good as long as you get it de-restricted, because it won't affect the speed, it just affects the torque. I would recommend that you go on to CMPO, get the part and do it yourself. It's not hard. Do you deliver bikes around the country? Yep, we deliver bikes all around the country, and it usually costs £100 mainland UK. When you get into like back end of Scotland or back end of Wales, then it might cost a little bit more. I had an E34. Yep, 2.5. I loved it a long time ago. I had a 3.5 litre E34 with Snitzer body kit, Snitzer wheels, and I got into a bad way because my ex-wife was an arse. So she spent all my money and I couldn't afford to run it, so I had to sell it for something cheaper. And the car that I swapped it for actually ended up blowing up about a day after. So I got screwed on that one. can you not get the Aspire 50 anymore unless they're in stock left anymore? Yeah, you can't get the Aspire 50 and you can't get the Hunter unless people have still got stock from the last shipment, which some people have, but there's not many about anymore. Once the stock has gone from whatever shop has it, it's never going to be available again. What could we expect? A new upcoming Yamazaki Frosty video. The Frosty video is coming out probably beginning of next week. So when a motorbike comes into the country, you have to have what's called a COC, which is a certification of conformity. So you get that, you send it to the DVLA. The DVLA will then register the bike and give you it back. Register the documents and then give you the documents back. When you get the documents back, you then can do the proper registration for a customer, but that usually takes about 2 weeks. So I can't actually ride it until I get the certificate of conformity back from the DVLA. We put the Nitro, we put a 110 in a couple of those. We put 110 in a Namfang NF50, which was a really light bike. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. We're actually putting a 150 high torque, high compression engine in the Yamazaki, and also a 250, just because we can, and why not? All the Lemon bikes are cheap and crap. Some people had issues with them. They're not generally crap. They're just, some people have issues with them. Why don't you sell quality bikes like Honda? Because Kymco are pants. Even MotoGP say that Kymco are rubbish. They wanted to. We asked them for some more models from MotoGP, and they wouldn't let us have them because they said they were pants. Suzuki and Honda. There are people that sell Suzuki and Honda, but the problem is they're too expensive, and Honda and Suzuki have they have to inspect your premises and all that sort of stuff, so it's not worth doing. And Chinese bikes, there's nothing wrong with them. Thank you, Dan. Much appreciated. Somebody's trying to get hold of me on my website. Go away. Okay, great, thanks so much. For review. Elia, there's nothing else on the market that's 50cc. If you don't like it, don't buy it. It's as simple as that, really. I'm only going by what people have said. I'm not getting into this argument. Yes, CBRS is going to take over the 50cc market, because we are also getting in another bike to replace the Hunter and the Aspire. What is a good bike insurance? I use BikeSure. If you want to go with BikeSure, there is a link in the description of this video. Go down there, press that. I get a little bit of a payback if you do it, but they are generally the cheapest. What I would always recommend is go and do your research. Go to several different companies. Try a couple of them first. Was planning on getting a Aspire soon. Might have to get a Yamazaki from you instead. Yeah. I don't know if it's sadly or not, but you can't get anything else. So you might have to. Right, let's talk about this review thing. So in regards to reviews for Chinese and Japanese bikes, Japanese bikes have a massive marketing team that will go about, hunt through the internet and remove any bad reviews. Now, the owner of Cheap Bikes for Us, Keith, he used to work at Honda, and he worked there for, I think it was 5 years, and then he decided to open up his own shop with Chinese motorbikes. We've got another guy who works there, and he's been in the industry for 40 plus years. We had a guy that worked for Harley Davidson, and there isn't really that much difference on the failure rate. The only difference is that the Chinese market will not remove bad reviews. Japanese market removes bad reviews. I'm not saying that all Japanese and Chinese bikes are exactly the same, because they're not. You do in some aspects get what you pay for, but it's not as big a difference as you would be led on. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. Anyway, I'm not getting into this right now, so thank you for your input. But yeah, I'm not getting into the Japanese and Chinese thing. To a certain extent, you get what you pay for. I have a Yamaha TZ50 and it needs as much looking after as... Yeah, see? That is from the horse's mouth, shall we say. Kimco, yes, you're right, they are Taiwanese, but quite a lot of the parts will be Chinese. What are the AGS 125 bikes like reliability? Reliability wise, the AGS bikes are pretty much the same as everything else. The reason we don't do AGS anymore is because we couldn't get parts off of them. They would always take ages to do warranty parts, and it was it was a pain in the bum. So we'd stop doing it. In regards to Lexmoto, if you go to Lexmoto and say, look, I've got a problem with this bike, can I have the part? They will give you it straight away. MotoGP are the same. WK are a bit of a pain in the bum, and so is Zontes to a certain extent. But AGS was definitely the worst. We are AGS bikes. Yep. Yeah. In regards to the sim and all that, yeah, they're all pretty much made the same sort of thing. So, love all your videos. Favourite video is the LXR 125, so I want that bike. The LXR 125, I will be doing a new video at some point. The electric bikes seem interesting. I bet the batteries won't last long. That is a major problem for electric bikes at the minute. None of the batteries last very long. I heard of Zontes are okay. Zontes and Motorini and the same company. Right, cool. Looking out for that video. It won't be for a while with the LXR because that's going to take a while because there's none in stock anyway. The only one that they can't sell is the 380cc LXR because nobody wants it. What is the replacement you're getting for the Hunter like? It's going to be sort of similar to the Fosse F50, but more naked and probably a little bit cheaper. Do you have any experience with Hyungsung? Hyungsung is another one that they're not very good apparently from what I've heard, but don't always judge the book by what somebody else has said. Go and have a look at one yourself before you actually say that. Right, Salix Motor, Thinnest Motorcycles. I can't say 100%. I've only seen ones that are 14 years old, so I'm not going to go and say that. Right, I think I'm going to call it a day. This has gone on far longer than I was expecting, and thank you for everybody for commenting and getting involved. Now, I was going to ask you if anybody wants to do a review on their own bike and want me to publish it on my website as a guest blog. If you want to send that through to me at chris@ridingreviews.co.uk, and I will post it as long as it is relevant, as long as you don't swear, and as long as it hasn't got any personal details on. And then next week, if you do post it the week after, I will give you a shout out on one of my videos. Elsa, your messages are getting blocked now, so okay. Okie dokie, right, I will leave it at that. Um, thank you very much, Jordan. $1.99. Right, so thank you for watching my video, and remember, as always, ride safe.